Hey, welcome back, everybody, to our final, I believe, fifth and final matchup of the night here on Nemesis Saturday Night Rocket League playoff actions. This is going to be the last of the first round matchups before we head off to the semifinals next week. And I'm joined here with one of the other, I'm not going to say the only because there's Psycho out there, the other bearded legend. It's Speed Demon. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. And I'm ready to really watch this and cast this rival game. Pineapples and Distortions. Distortion coming in at that the 7 seed, and Pineapples at the 2 seed. We've seen a lot of those 2-7 series kind of go crazy this quarterfinals so far. So I'm curious to see if Distortion is able to keep that one going, or if Pineapples are going to change the script and actually have a 2 seed win for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even the 1 seeds have had a bit of a scare, at least in Titan, and yeah, I mean that Pinnacle series. Oh my goodness, I don't even want to think about that. But yeah, definitely the 2 seeds struggling a bit here. I feel like Pineapples. It's going to be pretty hard for them to lose this series. But that being said, the last time I saw Distortion, it wasn't even Distortion. It was 2 players from Distortion subbing up in a Titan series, and Zap was flip resetting on people. I think it was actually against Pinnacle, now that I think about it. I think Zap flip reset, double tapped on the Pinnacle team, and I forget who was on his team as well. His teammate was definitely peaking as well in a Titan League matchup. So Distortion, I feel like they got a pretty good shot here to potentially, again, get one more 2-seed upset.
Yeah, I think they do as well. And but we also got Pineapples. We got Valence, and Valence loves the grand finals. He just loves losing in them. So there's that. He loves to get there, but he just likes losing in them. So Pineapples, they're a good team. Valence has what it takes to go all the way. So I definitely think this is going to be a toss-up, and we should see at least a Game 6, if not a Game 7 in this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Valence is just peak Rocket League on playoffs. He's always hitting clips all the way back to Season 2 in the grand finals there. I mean, he's just he just hits the shots when they matter most in the moments. But yeah, like you said, he just can't get the job done in the final series. But, this is a first-round series, so if the tail of the tape remains the same, he will move on to the grand finals here, but Distortion is going to be in their way, and I did find out Sense was that other player. Sense and Zap are going to have to carry this Distortion roster if they have any hope against Valence, Paper, and Cart. And kind of a bit of a roster scuffle earlier on in the season, Speed, where Prip and I believe one of their other players were shipped off elsewhere, and Valence kind of had to start from scratch, but either way, they find themselves in the 2 seed here.
Yeah, they do. And, I thought that was a pretty good roster that they had, but Valence going to show us why he is the king of making it to the grand finals early, and he's going to put this one in off of a great pass right there by Paper.
Initially, just a bad read from Zap off his first touch on the back wall, and he just couldn't get back to it, and chaos ensued after that. But I think I have a feeling which way you're going, Speed, but a quick prediction from you on this one.
You may think that I'm going with Pineapples here, but I've seen a lot out of this Distortion team, and I definitely, and with how the playoff tail is going so far this season, I'm gonna give it to this number 7 seed here in Distortion, and I think they'll be able to pull this one off in 7.
Oh, and here's Zap looking for another clip, and you know what? I'll double up on that prediction. I definitely want to see some more playoff Valence action, and I hope he can prove me wrong and try and break the curse and make it to the grand finals. But as far as my analysis is concerned, even though they give up a pretty early goal here off of a misplay, I got to rock with Distortion as well. As a double commit coming out, going to leave the net open for Paper. Nicolo racing back, and Cart for the snipe on the top right. I've been caster cursing them all week here, Speed, but that was a great shot.
That was just a beautiful shot. Nicolo racing back to try to make the save, gets it, but doesn't quite get it far enough in the corner, and Cart is just going to punish that with a beautiful shot right over the top of Nicolo. And, if you're Nicolo, there's not much you can do there other than, get the ball into the corner another extra foot. Like, that would have been it, and that's so close. So that's great overall play right there by Cart.
Yeah, and again, it just comes down to a first soft touch from the final defender. They're trying to get it to safety off in the corner, but their first touch was a little too heavy and they can't get back to it. And again, awkward positioning for the last man here on Distortion. As more 50s coming out, Cart just might be the first to this, but a double whiff ensues. Sense up for this one. Just going to blast it. Zap actually in position. Will find the shot, but Paper going to send it off to the side. Sense down into Valence, and Valence actually leaves this ball. Going to allow Nicolou to get some possession here. Gets the boost steal, but loses the play. The Sense, quick hit. Looking for one more pass in the middle. The whiff off the backward, but Cart there. Shut down. Zap, who didn't read the whiff either way. Now, get a back and forth here as no team really getting any consistent pressure. But this is just going to play into the Pineapples' favor here as we're approaching halfway. Cart with a great back pass over to Paper, but Nicolou privy to that. He will outbeat the midfielder. Another 50 out to the side. Nicolou and Zap both in the same corner. And again, I don't know, it just kind of seems like that this Distortion roster here, Speed, I can see them going for the plays, they're just not all on the same page.
Yeah, I can too, and I can also just see it. Pineapples are just looking stronger and faster so far right now. The attempts are there by Distortion, and you can see it, like, it's gonna look like so good, and then someone from the Pineapples is just beating them there, disrupting whatever they have going on, and it's just unfortunate, and Paper is going to take this one off of the wall and just get this slight little flick over Zap as last defender, and Pineapples are looking really good to start off this game one.
Yeah, and again, just awkward third man positioning here for Distortion. And if they can get that under order, they can shut down this Pineapples offense. But that being said, Distortion only at one shot themselves. Pineapples at 6. Trying to get something going off the kickoff, but Sense, bit of an awkward jump and a late touch will send this one off the ceiling. Shot on target. Double commit was forced, but the save was made. As Nicolou, again, awkward. They're just not in position here. They're either too deep, too far forward. As Paper looking for a bit of a pre-flip clip off the side, but not enough boost to get the job done. Sense trying to use a lot of boost of his own, get something going, but ran out of boost and could not get back to his own touches. Zap gonna try and get this ball to the middle, but dunked out from Valence. Still enough time to get back to it. Gets bumped off this time as Nicolou looking for one more touch to the middle. Net almost open, but Valence rushing from the corner will get the save and shut this down. And the way the Pineapples are playing right now, Speed, they're looking pretty flawless here. That being said, they only have 2 saves, but Distortion, they only have 3 shots, so really only 1 missed opportunity.
Yeah, and Distortion, you've mentioned a couple times, they can clean up that, last man defensive touches and pressure. This game isn't a 3-goal game. It's probably 1 with that 1 goal from really that Cart where that beautiful slot. But other than that, the other ones were pretty preventable. That last man, as you had mentioned a couple times. So, but Sense, he's going to go for the dunk here and the double, and he's going to get it. And he's going to give some life to this Distortion roster. We know they can pop off. We know they can hit clips. And he's going to do it. And, that's 42 seconds left, Bagels. That's enough time to score 2.
Yeah, a great shot from Sense there. And that, I saw that when they were subbing up in the Titan League games. Zap and Sense were hitting some shots, and it all starts off this kickoff. And a good opportunity here for a comeback. And they are starting to mount it.
Oh, they have started. And hopefully, for the Pineapple's sake, this didn't open the floodgates with 2 quick goals here in 4 seconds. But this Distortion roster, they can pop off and they can open the floodgates. So we'll see what they have in store. They only need 1, and then the final 38 seconds here, Bagels, to try to tie this one up and either win it in regulation or even send it to overtime. So let's see if they can get this one done.
Yeah, they actually did win the kickoff, but Zap taking a decent amount of time to jump for that ball, and maybe was a little bit nervous on the play as it was presented to him as an unfortunate goal. An unfortunate insurance goal will come out for the Pineapples.
Yeah, and that's, a little bit of unfortunate there. Zap looked like he might have made that save, but Nicolou, knowing he was a little awkward, tries to pre-flip, getting back, and just, ends up hitting that one in. And and gonna give the Pineapples a 2-0 lead, and that might do it here unless Nikolai can get this one cleared out, but he's gonna miss, and Cart is gonna put in the dagger here for game 1, and Pineapples are more than likely gonna go up 1-0 in this series.
I'd say it's a certainty at this point. But, Pineapples, every opportunity that's been presented to them, they have hit. They have not really missed a shot here. And every opportunity they've gotten, they have capitalized on. And, in playoffs, if you make a mistake, you got to be able to capitalize off of it. And so far, the Pineapples have done just that as one more open net. Valence on target, but Sense going to send it away. As one more for the road potentially here for Distortion. But Valence going to shut down any hopes of that, as Pineapples will take game 1 in this series, and in kind of dominating fashion. But it really just got started off on the wrong foot here, Speed, because Distortion, they just gave up 2 quick goals and put themselves in a hole. And not only did they give up 2 quick goals, but it was just off of mistakes too.
Yeah, and it really was unfortunate, the 2 quick goals. You did see him really, start to open up and catch fire there towards the last minute of gameplay, but it just wasn't enough. Pineapple still had enough of the momentum and all the pressure, and everything was just going in their favor, that it was kind of hard for them to lose game number 1. So we definitely have to see how Distortion is going to come out here in game number 2. If they can continue how they were playing towards the end of that game, we should see a definite closer game. But anything can happen, and it looks like Sense may have made a card change. He did leave the lobby, so maybe Sense wasn't quite feeling something at the beginning of that game as well.
Kind of surprising considering you hit that really good double tap, but looks like he may have just traded some paint, opting for even when Justin wins a game, he changes his car. So just being unpredictable perhaps. As this ball wafting off the backboard, but Cart can't find the accuracy that he did find that snipe in game number 1. As Nikolai on the goal line, getting the save. Zap awkward. Does get bumped into the challenge. The Cart is getting just right back to this, looking for a pass to Valence, as all of Distortion is just cowering in their defensive third. Finally, a big clear will relieve some pressure. As Paper gets his own boost, leaving it for Cart. But Zap off the back wall. A good clear out from Paper to relieve that ball from Water falling down. Paper looking to get this out. Collects the mid, but does get sent out of the field. Valence going to try and send it back to Cart, but a double whiff again as Nikolai up to Zap. An early giveaway possession, but just might work out as a counterattack. But Nikolai can't read the ball off the ceiling. Works out as a fake, but not for long, as one more whiff comes out. Valence looking for the flip reset, waiting for the dunk to come out. Paper saves his own teammate's shot.
Oh, you hate to see that if you're a Pineapples fan or a Pineapples player. Paper doing the right thing, trying to clean up the goalie there, and in the meantime of doing that, gets in the way of his own teammate's shot, and he is going to get a save, not on the register, but he is going to get a save credited in my scorebook, as that's a huge thing to note here, as that keeps Distortion alive and their hopes alive, as losing game 1 and any extra hopes that you can get is really going to be huge to try to turn on that momentum.
Yeah, but still they are just absolutely under duress here, as finally, again, one more big clear coming out. Paper gets it. Cart disrupting the midfield attacker. And Nikolai, again, gives the ball away early, and now Sense and Zap going to have to rush back. The Paper getting a quick hit off to the corner. Nothing super dangerous, as the final third man commits really early, but Paper able to get back in time. Net still open. Sense, he cannot find the shot, and the attacker was demoed to try and score that. One more hit to the middle, but that man was just sent off the field. Nobody there for the shot. And now, again, Pineapple's back on the attack. Valence found the crossbar down, I believe, but it was saved before then. As Nikolai on the ball with 0 boost. Still gets a decent 50. Shot to the middle. Sense, great 50 again, but Paper, every time Distortion has a shot speed, even in game 1, the Pineapples players are just getting straight back, but hold on, Zap. He comes from the ceiling to score first.
All right, yeah, Paper doing everything he can to save this, and Zap is coming to make a beautiful read there, and no one around with that beautiful of a shot to be able to make that save, as he had just 50 Paper on the wall himself, so he knew Paper was out of the equation.
Yeah, he got... as off the kickoff Zap almost jumped over the ball, and a huge 50 almost sends it through again. But Zap, he got bumped into that play, and luckily for him, he was able to just use his flip right off the ceiling, but still, the wherewithal to be able to hit that shot and place it perfectly well on the right side. Will give Distortion the lead, but Cart gonna sacrifice his body to make sure this one goes all the way through, and Pineapples with a quick answer.
Yeah, Pineapples, quick answer. That's what you like to see. But unfortunate there for Distortion. Just trying to. One thing I've noticed is Distortion. They have to get better clears out of their zone. They've struggled a lot to get the clears out, and it's just giving Pineapples all the time in the world to keep that pressure, keep the ball in their half, and eventually, the more time the ball's in your defensive half, the other team's going to end up finding the back of the net. So it was only about time that the Pineapples were able to finally put one in.
Yeah, especially considering they've basically been on the attack this whole game. Distortion having to rely on counterattacks to get the job done. And really a good double tap game one and a good goal here game two. Kickoff goal that kind of just went in the other game. But really, just every single goal having to result from a counterattack. As Sense with the open backboard. Zap leaving the ball for him. And the shot was saved from paper. Great opportunity. Gone by the wayside due to the great defense of the Pineapples that they have been playing these first two games. As Sense was going for the ball, but again, these Pineapples players just putting their bodies on the line to make sure the ball is in their control as a dribble and a fake comes out to his teammate. As now Sense, quick touch in the midfield as the net was open there for Distortion. Lofter, Nicolou, he's going to be able to get back to his own touch with the crossbar down, but again, saved from Cart, and the Pineapples are not wavering on the goal line here.
No, Pineapples coming out with 5 shots against 7 shots that Distortion... 5 saves against the 7 shots that Distortion has had, and Distortion starting to get some shots, and as a dribble attempt comes out there by Zap, the counter attack coming out here, but that one's gonna go just wide, and Distortion's gonna get the clear out, and they're gonna come a counter attack of their own. But right now we just got some boomer ball clears as, oh my bagels, Valence is gonna score that one. What a beautiful read.
Yeah, Valence is known for these moments. He gets these great redirects, and not only that, but puts it with power. Realistically, nobody was home. He just had to hit the shot, but still able to find that. And oh my goodness, Cart with that great save, and he got the double tap to boot off the sideball and gave his teammates a counterattack, and now a kickoff in their favor. Valence up once again, but the fake comes out. Cart with a ballsy third man push. Actually, this is going to leave the net open. Paper, he has to race back. Nicolou just has to make the touch, and he does! A ballsy challenge from Valence will bring us to overtime. And oh my goodness.
Yeah, and great for the Distortion team to be able to fight back, get this one downfield to Nicolou, where Nicolou just had to secure it, make sure that one went in, and that I believe that was Cart that was back there, couldn't quite make the save, and they're going to pinch that one in. And we are into overtime now, Bagels, and Distortion starting to pick things up. They have a little hope being in overtime, and let's see if they can come away with a win here, or is Cart going to slide this one in and give Pineapples the 2-0 series lead?
Valence, a man after my own heart, with a calculated fake, leaving the ball for his teammate. And I just don't think Distortion was ready for that. The fakes, they can be extremely deadly like that. But still, I feel like somebody for Distortion should have been there either way, because there was 3 Pineapples players in the midfield. And you got to feel like something was brewing there for the offense, and Distortion, they just had nobody back. It was hit hard, and it was placed well, but ultimately, Distortion, they lose game 2 here, down 2-0 in the series, and that's a tough one after kind of being gifted overtime, and they're not able to capitalize on that gift.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate. And, Valence, not only did he get the calculated fake whiff there, but he did get the bump on the defender that was right in front of him. I believe it was Zap. He did get a small bump on him, so he did clear out that one defender, which I think, they were definitely going to be able to make that challenge, it looked like. So just unfortunate that, the other 2 Distortion players, it went right in between both of them. So unfortunate. Yes, they were gifted that overtime. They weren't able to, capitalize on that. And that's the biggest thing, is they have to start capitalizing on the little mistakes, because Pineapples aren't going to give you many. And if you want to come away with a win, you have to capitalize on as many of those mistakes that they do end up giving you as you can.
Yeah, and I think one more thing, again, something else that is in my playbook for sure, the demos and the bumps distortion, they got to get physical, because if Cart and company on Pineapples just keep racing back and making these last second saves, they're not going to be scoring many goals, so they just got to eliminate these players off the field and steal the boost as well, because Cart is just a monster on defense and offense. I mean, we saw that snipe in game 1, and my goodness, that crazy double off his own crossbar to save that. Game number 2 there, and now Distortion down 2-0. As hold on, Valence looking for a solo play. Does he have his flip? No, he doesn't. I'm sure if he did, though, he would have found the shot there. As Sense getting a demo, not really doing much for his team in that moment, though, as Zap awkward last back. Nicolou gonna bail him out. As Valence trying to corral this off the sidewall, keep possession for his team. Cart up extremely early, and Zap gonna send it out as Sense is looking for more bumps here in game number 3. Net was somewhat open because of that zoning, as Nicolou with a pass out to the midfield, but Valence and Paper just both charging on that, seeing what was happening before them. Now Sense out. An awkward touch from Valence, but Paper right behind him, ready for it. And these Pineapples players' speed, whether it's via strategy or they're just ready for some mistakes from their teammates, they're playing extremely close to each other. Again, here, Paper right below Valence. They're just a tight-knit rotation right now, and it's working.
It really is working for him, and it's kind of surprising because a lot of teams, they aren't able to play in that tight of a rotation, as Sense is going to go for the solo dribble play, and he's going to give Distortion the lead and start this one off early for them, and that's something that they really need, and they need to start scoring more early and often.
A huge play from Sense again, pulling out the mechanical plays. Haven't seen too much from Zap. He did get that one play off the ceiling, but that was, we'll call that a calculated goal. But still, Zap not really able to get utilized on the offense. Now, danger here for Distortion. Zap able to get back to it, but definitely a great play coming out from Sense. And Paper was right behind him on the flick, but I don't think he wanted to bump an own goal off of the pool shot there, but either way, Distortion. Oh my goodness, a huge 50 from Nicolou. Cart, can he find the read? No, he can't, but Zap can't find it either. Sense gonna take the ball himself. He had an open passing lane to Nicolou. Perhaps could have utilized him because he wasted a lot of boost and gave these Pineapples players time to get back on defense. As Nicolou dribble of his own. Nothing doing on this one quite yet, as Sense a misplay off the sideball. Paper getting the boost. Has the ball, but Zap shutting it down, looking for the double. Valence on the backboard well before that opportunity was going to come out. And definitely Distortion is hunting for more bumps in it. It's kind of working. They're not really getting any demos, but they're zoning these players out of defense, as the miscommunication coming out. But still not being punished for it yet, actually, as the Pineapples not really ready for that misplay. As Cart wafting it high up to his teammate Paper on the sideball. Paper trying to get it back to the middle for Valence. One more ballsy third man push from Valence. Could just spell the deal, but Cart is back in time as Valence looking for bumps of his own. Zap up to Sense. Great 50. Nicolou in a bit of an awkward spot, but Sense putting his body on the line. There's a lot of sacrificial demos going on, Speed, more than I've probably ever seen.
Yeah, it really is, and it's kind of rare to see. I like to give up some sacrificial, demos myself. If I can, get in front of the other team so they can't quite make the play and I get demoed, it doesn't hurt me in a way. It slows them down, and it makes them not be able to make a play, and it puts me back in a defensive rotation myself. So I don't mind it, but it's not something you generally see in these higher ranks. They want to try to work things out, get mechanical, get really defensive. But Paper is going to tie this one up for the Pineapples off of a great, play right there by Valence. He's trying to force him to make something happen. He gets to triple commit, and, Paper wide open net, going to put that one in.
Yeah, the triple commit really sealed the deal right there, and still looked like Zap was almost able to get back to it. But one more great kickoff, and Nicolou has an open net. And this is the second time that Distortion's just had a free goal off the kickoff.
Yeah, Valence cheats up a little too close, unable to get the bump. You saw him try to go for the attempt there on Nicolou to get the bump, so you can't go up and get that. But Nicolou, sees that coming, avoids it as Cart trying to find one of his own, but he's not going to get his to fall, and Distortion is going to thank the gods of Rocket League and allowing them to remain in this 1-0 lead as they are 2-0 down in this series.
And one more attack came out, but Zap with a great save to stop that backboard read coming out from Valence. He finds himself on defense now. A bit of a misinput there as he jumped. Did find the save, though. And Paper opting to let Nicolou take a free shot, but no follow-up here for Distortion quite yet. 50 off the side. This Cart and Paper both colliding on that one. Taken to a dribble. Somehow sneaks it through, but Sense right behind his teammate. Now Cart to the middle. Zap with a free and open net, but he can't find the shot. Needed an insurance goal, perhaps. Otherwise, we might head to one more overtime if Pineapples can come back off of a crazy counterattack of their own. But Nicolou wanting to keep this ball in possession here. But a series of whiffs comes out, and this is only going to benefit the Distortion roster. As Valence trying to get something going in the final seconds. Ball stuck in the corner. But Nicolou, he has time, he has space, and he will let it drop. And I don't know, there's just a lot of strange whiffs coming out right here in the final seconds. Maybe it was the nerves knowing the Pineapples needed to get something done, but there's been a lot of some strange plays going on here, Speed. A lot of sacrificial demos, a lot of double whiffs. Looking like both teams are a little wary to take confidence and spearhead their victories here. But, you know, Distortion, this was a must-win game for them, and they did find it. Granted, not by the easiest of means, but they are back in the series, only down 2-1 now.
They are back in the series. That was definitely a huge, win for Distortion. It puts them, not down 3-0 on match point and trying to come back and make that, virtually impossible reverse sweep attempt. So that's huge for them. And the calculated whiffs, that's what they almost seem to be, Bagels, are calculated whiffs as, they're whiffing, but it's not really messing up their own team. When the teams are whiffing, it's almost like that they're really calming it because it seems like their teammates are able to pick up their slack for whatever just happened.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, again, more Grandmasters plays coming out. Granted, it didn't work for us tonight. We did lose, but you know what? Maybe Distortion might just have to result in the same strategy and prove to be successful here for them. As again, in the higher levels, when you're just expecting a play to come out, if a player does not make that read, you're not going to be in position for it. But it's only a matter of time before I'm thinking Pineapples start to make some adaptations to that and start anticipating these whiffs to come out. The one from Valence was absolutely a calculated fake, and what was calculated was that shot again, forcing a triple commit here for Distortion, but they're able to get out of defense. Now a team pinch. Sense he's looking to get one more follow-up to boot, but got demoed, and Zap got smoke screened. Still, Nicolou finding the follow-up. He got bumped right after that first touch. Still trying to be a nuisance. As Nicolou back past to Zap. Time, space, it's over. Paper gets the 50 down as Valence. Awkward, but just all he has to do is push this ball to safety. He's still touching it, though. And kind of panicking a little bit. But still, the passing plays between the Pineapples coming out. One more pass to the middle for Valence. He gets the dunk. Both Cart and Paper rush in. But not able to get the job done as just one more demo play. But the accuracy cannot be found from Distortion as the attacking player was getting bumped off of the ball. And I don't know, it's just wild gameplay right now, Speed. It's just all over the place. Both teams, they want to score first, but they can't get it done as the Doomsday almost coming out. And it's just wild.
It is wild as you speak of whiffs and wild as one comes out there. But Nicolou isn't going to whiff on this one, and he's going to slot this one in the middle of 2, maybe 3 Pineapple defenders. It gets it by 1, 2, all 3 of them right there within striking distance. But Nicolou's gonna, use his sightseeing glasses there, and he's gonna put that one through. And again, give Distortion an early, well, not too early, but an early lead and a lead in this game number 4. So, you just got to see them stop with the whiffs and really start making contact, because when they are making contact and they're striking the ball good, we're seeing good things happen and come from it.
Yeah, and again, kind of scary on that play that they did score on, as all 3 Distortion players were up. So if Pineapples found that save, they likely would have produced a counterattack, but you know what? We'll never know, as the ball did end up going in the back of the net. And once again, Distortion scoring first. It's now Sense. Another corner of Valence on his own back wall. Has a lot of time and space. But going to get dunked out from Zap, actually. And all three Pineapples players bumping into each other off of an initial Zap bump. Putting them in a bit of an awkward spot here. His ball just to the middle. Nobody in Distortion in position, but still Pineapples players are out of boost. And Zap was looking for a follow-up to boot, but just couldn't find the read. He's looking for a bump now, but Valence has to give the ball away early. Off the backboard, but Sense cannot find the read. If he found that, would have been a good insurance goal, perhaps. As nobody was in the net for the Pineapples. Nobody going for this ball on Distortion, and still more awkward chemistry coming out here. As Paper, great patience from him. He almost air dribbled that over the entire Distortion team. Valence to the middle, finding Cart again. All three players on Distortion again in the same spot, but Cart is going to send the ball on his own side. But somehow every time... Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that just happened.
What did I just witness? Oh my, Cart accidentally gets the ball hit into him, sends it to his defensive end, and then Valence is going to get dunked out in the corner, and Sense is going to find that angle and give them the 2-0 lead. Yeah, we got some weird plays going on for sure, officially, because I think that officially seals the weird plays in this series.
Yeah, you almost spoke it into existence there. And you know what, Speed? We're not even on Forbidden Temple yet, and there's already some suspect Rocket League being played, so I think we might be in for, I won't say a treat of a series, but more of a chaotic series. But you know what? Again, only playing to the favor of Distortion here as a big insurance goal. 2-0 with a minute left. Pineapples are going to have to mount the comeback as both teams with 5 shots. Again, kind of proving to the... Oh, is the Paper almost finding a crossbar on Crate? And excuse me, Cart looking for the follow-up. Again, Distortion is just absolutely panicking. All three players clustered. They're abandoning the ball, but the bump comes out. And Nicolou just is getting down off the field. It's just absolute chaos as more bumps are coming out on the defensive side. Again, I can't even count the amount of times I've seen all 6 players on the screen at the same time, as nobody can get their rotations in order, but still the clock is just ticking down for the Pineapples here. Got to get something going out of this corner. But one more dunk from Nicolou will likely seal the deal. Although Cart having other things to say, but this ball going into the corner and will result in a Distortion victory. But my goodness, Speed, that was not a convincing victory at all. That was just absolute pandemonium.
Oh my, it really was. And Distortion bouncing back, taking the next 2 games after going down 0-2, tying this one up 2-2. And I know you say that we haven't even gotten to Forbidden Temple, but Forbidden Temple is supposed to mix things up, right? So if this series has already mixed things up, maybe Forbidden Temple, if it gets that far, which we did just solidify Forbidden Temple, we're looking at maybe the most wholesome, cleanest actual Rocket League playing game instead of these weird plays that are going on.
I like the contrarian viewpoint there, Speed. Perhaps we might see the most mechanical game yet. We might see Zap go for a clip, maybe one more Sense double tap, or maybe Valence. He's been kind of quiet since he got that really good redirect to take the lead, but then he overcommitted a few seconds later and allowed Distortion to get back into that game. They did win that overtime, however, but I don't know. I mean, Cart has showed up insanely well on defense, and Valence has been on defense as well, making some great saves. I was going to say he always is able to make it there last minute, and he came from off screen to get the save, but it just flew right into the corner, and he got the dunk to send it on for that second goal. As the Pineapples do take their timeout here, I feel like this is a really good time to take the timeout because it just might reset the series, like you're saying, because both teams are panicking. Both teams are insanely clustered on defense. There's bump plays coming out. There's team bumps coming out. It's just that this timeout might actually benefit both teams, but especially for Pineapples, who have dropped the last 2 games when realistically it could be a 4-0 sweep at this point.
Yeah, and I'm hoping this kind of calms everyone's nerves, but the way this series is going, Bagels, I think maybe the extra timeout. Both teams are talking, but it might be because they're talking. It's going to add to the fact of the nerves. Now they're essentially playing a best of three, coming in. So you go from a marathon of a race here to now playing a best of three, and that's a sprint. So maybe the nerves of that sprint is going to get to one of these teams, and we'll continue to see those whiffs. I hope not, but that is another possibility to look at with these timeouts sometimes.
Always off the kickoff. Valence looking for some more, but not able to get it. It did hit the crossbar. Good opportunity, but gone by the wayside, but still looking to pick up where they left off from the kickoff. As Nicolou, good flick over one. Valence awkward spot. Double commit comes out. As Cart having to avoid a bump. Sense last back perhaps going to look for a pass. No, he takes to a dribble. Somehow ends up getting 2 dunks. As Paper pass to his own. Valence cannot find the shot accuracy. And one thing I will say is the Pineapples passing has been absolutely stellar. It's just a matter if they're hitting their shots. As I think Valence may have stopped an own goal. It looked like Zap was going to own goal that, but Valence got in the way of it. Again, more questionable actions coming out here, but hopefully someone can get things under control here. As it's just a house of ash at this point. Speed. It's even more bumps. Sense was going for a bump. Zap going for a bump. The timeout, I'm thinking it didn't help.
No, not after the first minute of gameplay here in game number 5. It looks like we still got the same 2 play styles that have been going on for the whole series. Still going on. We haven't seen as many whiffs so far, but we got this crazy madhouse. But Nicolou trying to make something happen here. He's going to put this one across, but again, both it looked like Zap and Sense were looking for some type of bump demo play, as Valence is going to capitalize off of the clear, and he's going to stick that one in and give Pineapples the lead.
Yeah, and that was really an opportunity where Distortion should have scored. They had an open net, essentially. Nicolou just needed to get a better pass out to the midfield, but it was a bit of an awkward bounce to try and accurately send that to one of his 2 teammates. But again, one of his 2 teammates, they were both in the same spot, and that's what allowed Valence to get on that counterattack. And Valence, I think he's feeling the nerves a little bit because he had an open net of his own speed, and he almost just shanked that one into the left corner. And again, more accuracy issues coming out for this Pineapples team. They're setting up themselves perfectly, but they're feeling the pressure here.
Yeah, they are feeling the pressure, and if you're the Pineapples fan, you really want Valence to not be feeling the pressure, as Valence with the most experience in playoffs, I feel like, on this Pineapples roster. So, if there's got to be someone to really step up and calm the nerves for the team, it's got to be Valence.
Wouldn't have to agree, but at the same time, Distortion, they got some things to work out of their own. Double commits galore as Valence will find the ice on this shot, top shelf, but again, off of more Distortion mistakes, as Nicolou just a pass back into the middle, and Sense he got bumped out.
Yeah, Sense and Nicolou both going for that ball too. Nicolou ended up going up, getting the touch, not the greatest touch, and then Sense kind of being in an awkward position and got with the bump, leaving that back net wide open. So again, like you said, they do have some things they need to fix on. Their rotations haven't been too clean. They've double committed and triple committed too much, but Sense is going to make up for that one, and he is going to dribble over the last defender here on the Pineapples and get that bar down ski.
Yeah, that was a great shot from Sense and Cart. He had to play the guessing game there. He had to figure out if the flip reset was coming out or if the air dribble was going over, and ultimately he chose wrong, as Sense able to get that one through. Crossbar down, no doubt. It's now Valence in his own corner, able to push his way past the attacking Distortion player. There is now Sense on the retreat in his corner. 0 boost as Zap with a ballsy challenge from the last man, and Nicolou, he gets bumped out once more, and this is going to be an open net for Paper. And Distortion, ever since I called for it, they've been going for some bumps, but in game number 5 here, this important swing game, the Pineapples are the ones being physical.
Yeah, Pineapples really getting physical. You gotta think at this point that's something that they talked about in that timeout, that maybe that was the one thing that they wanted to focus on more in this game coming up. But It's paying off for them. They're looking pretty good here so far in this game number 5 after that timeout, after taking those 2 straight losses. And Distortion, they got plenty of time to come back, but they got to figure it out, and they got to bounce back soon as Pineapples are starting to really pick up and look really solid here coming down the stretch in this game number 5.
Yeah, and a lot of these Pineapples touches are just going straight into the hands of their teammates, so they're always keeping possession within each other. Meanwhile, these Distortion players just struggling for possession, just hitting the ball wherever they can. As Nicolou will send it into his own corner. One more infield pass. Cart and Valence both there, actually. Gonna botch the opportunity for an extra insurance goal. 4-1 would have been a dominating lead. Now, this gives the opportunity for Sense to come back, but the shot straight into the hands of Paper. Rotating back just in time. As these Pineapples players always seemingly able to do. Get back on defense at the last possible second as Valence looking for one more pass, and Cart will find it off of the bump from the backboard. And the passes, just the passing plays from Pineapples.
The passing plays, the Pineapples. I think we always see the Pineapples with amazing passing plays. I don't know if it's just the Pineapple way. I don't know if it's Valence, and that's his. I mean, Valence has been a Pineapple for as long as I've been in the league, so, it must be a Valence thing, because I love the passing plays, and you always see it with the Pineapples team, regardless on who's on the roster. Is they love setting each other up. They love making team plays. And it's very rare do you see a solo play come out, but Nicolou is going to get this one near post OP off of a great dunk by Zap there. And, they give him some life. It's doable now. 2 goals, 42 seconds. They just have to get it done quick.
Yeah, it's going to come down to this kickoff here. They're going to need a good one. Either lose it or hilariously win it, as they just have. But since not able to get close enough to it as Paper. Gonna try and slow things down. Net open, though, and it's just off the side in the follow-up. Tough follow-up to try and hit coming off that bump attempt, but still they needed to get it if they had any hopes of making a comeback here. But still, Sense, big clear out. Trying to find Nicolou. Not able to find the crazy redirect angle, though. Now Zap on the retreat. No boost. No space to work with as the Pineapples players are hounding him. One more ball to the middle. The double commit is made, but Nicolou, he has time. He gets the flip reset. He does find it, but uses it a little bit early. But now the clock will tick down, and Pineapples are going to stop the bleeding here, dropping 2 games in a row, going to game 5, but they find the ice and take it, as now Distortion will use a timeout of their own, as just, oh my goodness, the bumps in the demo play. There were so many demos, but there might have been even more bumps that resulted in goals.
Yeah, most of the demos were not really. I don't think any led to any goals. Any of the actual demos really led to any goals. It was all just the bumps. And coming out from both teams as well. Both teams trying to get physical, trying to make that physicality really what propels them. And, Pineapples just did it better in this game. And, timeout buff. We've been seeing that happen a lot. The timeout, team takes a timeout, and you see them. And I don't know if it's because they're taking a timeout, so they really have stuff that they want to talk about and that they want to work on. And the other team's like, oh, well, we're doing good right now. We just forced them to take a timeout. Like, keep doing what we're doing. They're not really still analyzing and going over their gameplay on what they could do better. And that's why we see that. So now we see Distortion take theirs. They are on match point. We go to Forbidden Temple. Let's see what type of gameplay we get. Are we going to get that same crazy gameplay, Bagels, or are we going to get the most mechanical, straight up Rocket League? But it's really at this point, Distortion has to come out very hot, and they have to be the one to score first in this one to give themselves that momentum again. Because if not, Valence and this Pineapple team, they smell the blood in the water. They smell the semifinal trip, and they really want it. You can tell.
Yeah, I think the timeout, everybody uses their timeouts differently. I don't really discuss too much strategy, just kind of just more of a pause. Like, if you're doing things right, no real sense to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea what we're going to see here. I'm hoping we see some mechanical pop-off from either team here. Valence he's found some good shots, but, I haven't seen quite anything since the redirect there in game number 2, waiting for a Valence pop-off. Need to see Sense and Zap just go for some crazy shots again. Sense, you did get that air dribble in the last game, but again, just not enough doing on the offense there for Distortion. But really, it came down to the defense speed because they were just getting sent, not off the field, but they were getting sent to high heaven off in their corners because the Pineapples players, they were going for the passes. Like you mentioned, it pretty much is a historical legacy at this point that the Pineapples have just always been great at passing, but they've never really been physical, so maybe that's one thing that might propel them to victory here in Season 7 is these bumps coming out. But we'll have to see what results here on Forbidden Temple. Ascent trying to get a bump. He does find it off the back wall. Nicolou shooting opportunity. Not able to find it. Valence extremely awkward, but nobody on Distortion there to capitalize off of the zoning out from the backboard. Zap, quick turn in the midfield. Card up early. Nicolou looking for a dunk. Cart with one more great touch to send it past him. Everybody on the retreat for Pineapple. Zap, he has a shot, and he will hit it. And this time, you said it, Speed, they scored first. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, they did score first, and that is huge for them. And, we are still seeing the crazy bump demo play coming out, as there's been probably 4 or 5 demos already in the first minute of this game. I just keep hearing is boom, boom. I'm not seeing the demos, but I'm hearing them happen, and I'm seeing them pop up on the side screen as people are trying to get demos and free up space for their teammates on their rotations, which, not direct plays, but a beautiful save comes out by Zap on a shot by Paper, and they're going to remain in the lead here, and that's also going to add to the momentum here for Distortion.
No. As they were surviving on defense for so long, a big team bump came out from, looked like Sense and Zap, and the net was open.
You really hate to see that. They were holding strong. They were looking good. They were playing physical, and then they played a little too physical, and they forgot what color they were because Zap definitely took out Sense, and Sense was unable to actually make that 50. Zap unable to get back in time, and Paper's going to capitalize. He just had his beautiful goal save as Paper's looking to send this one down. Valence unable to read that one, and Cart's now going to send this one middle, but this one's going to get cleared out again by Nicolou.
If Valence somehow found that read, that would have been absolutely wild. But a tough shot to hit that ultimately he did not find contact on. Zap going to send this one out of defense. Valence last back. Gets an early touch. Had a little bit of space to work with, but still able to get his corner boost and get back to this ball as Valence and Paper on the assault. Looking for more bumps. Good passing play opportunity. Cart there for the shot. They will hit it, and they just cannot stop with the passes. The Distortion players have to do something to zone out the midfield.
Yeah, they do. And I thought Paper was going to get in the way of that one again, but thankfully he had his flip. He flipped out of the way, and, a beautiful, beautiful finish there by Cart. And, Pineapples, again, passing plays, looking so good. And every one of their passing plays, they're just, it's almost like they've been drawn up on a chalkboard or something because they are almost textbook. And I just love watching the Pineapples play.
Yeah, they are clinical more often than not. As one more play coming out, but Cart unable to find it. As Sense looking for the fake on the dribble, but they just got to get something going here. As time starting to become a factor. Granted, only down by 1 goal, but the Pineapples are controlling the midfield for the most part. As Zap gets a huge dunk, and Valence with a misread off the back wall. Looks like he may have backflipped off the top corner there, but great if you're Distortion.
Oh, yeah, he was
trying
to make the read and just not able to quite get the flip he was looking for. And again, that's what I talked about. I talked about it earlier. If you're Distortion, Pineapples, they're not going to make mistakes often. But when they do, you have to capitalize on it. And if they want to win the series and force a Game 7, they have to capitalize on it, as they did there. And, the great time to do it. So if Pineapples gives them any more, mistakes, they have to capitalize on that for the rest of this series if they want to, force this into a Game 7 and possibly win that Game 7.
And they had an open net right here, couldn't hit the shot. And honestly, they had an open net a few minutes ago, or if not minutes, seconds. Still, the attack on for Nicolou. And finally, Nicolou starting to get involved, coming up with a few flip reset touches the past few games. And the mechanics starting to come out from the third.
Yeah, and Great patience there by Nicolou. Goes to back out, sees the ball coming back, and knows his teammate just got demoed, so he's going to have someone behind him. So allows him to be able to turn on that, and he's just going to put a top shelf banger on there and give them the lead. And I like that you mentioned that. Nicolou's kind of been quiet this series, and we heard so much about Nicolou throughout at least the first half of the season, and how, he was really...
Oh, no.
Valence gonna put that one in, and he's gonna tie this one right back up. And beautiful dunk out there by Carr, and Nicolou again defensively though has struggled with those soft touches, going right to the pineapples.
Yeah, he would have just been better off getting a quick flip off to the side, and even then, it looked like Paper was hunting him in the backfield, but still just Pineapples getting the passing plays, getting the bumps. Even if they're not finding the bumps, they're putting players like Nicolou in awkward spots right there. As one more whiff comes out, Valence with the open net, but Sense getting back just in time. It's now a tie ball game. 1 minute left. Opportunity for Nicolou, but shut down early from a Pineapples defender. Paper looking for a dunk if he found that. That would have been disastrous for Distortion, but Zap with a great air dribble. Was about to get the boost steal, but got sent off of the map. As Sense getting faked out by Paper. Paper waiting for a teammate to come in, and finally Cart does. But Zap to the middle. Sense already rotated out, but possession given away. Nicolou trying to find the shot. Not able to get it, and Sense can't get contact off the sidewall, but he is lurking on the backboard. Pass back to the middle for Zap, but it's an early shot. Open backboard. He had some space there, Speed, and he just didn't utilize it.
Oh, you hate to see that, as Distortion coming out with a Pineapples passing play of themselves, and that was a beautiful pass off of the backboard there, and just unfortunate, unable to get that going, as we're going to head into the final 7 seconds here, and we might see an overtime here, Bagels, in game number 6 on Forbidden Temple, and we are, and Forbidden Temple, you can't expect anything else. Haven't seen an overtime game yet, and here we are.
And Zap, he's starting to look a little bit nervous, although one more kickoff opportunity, the double commit, it's a team pinch, but still possession given via the Distortion way. Sense gets bumped off the ball. As Zap charging in now, off the corner, Paper in an awkward spot, he's going to have to find this. Sends it to the middle for Sense, but he cannot find the accuracy once again. Nicolou into the corner, he's hunting for some bumps, but Zap and Sense both retreating to their side of the field as a offensive demo comes out. Cart off the side. Zap should be able to get the clear on this, and he does. Valence with a ballsy third man push once again. This is going to leave the net open. Zap, he just has to find the touch, and he does. And Valence on the offensive side is just a beauty, but on the defense, he's just making some crazy challenges.
That's the second one that we've seen him challenges. Time was winding down, or in overtime. That was a little bit, risque, we'll say. We'll just say risky. And he gets beat both times, leading to goals by Distortion. And, this one probably has to be the bigger of the two, as, Distortion able to take the win in the overtime here, able to force the game 7, and now you're playing a best of 1 with your seasons on the line, and you better hope that your mental is better than the other teams in this situation, because game 7s are very stressful. Not to mention you're not used to playing 7-game series as well, so you got to take into effect on that, and you just got to really see what team's going to come out and be hungry, and not let the mental and the stress of knowing that your season is on the line and you have to win. You have to win this game.
Yeah, and ultimately just a mistake from Valence there. Hard to tell if at the end of the day, you just got to make a choice, and he just made the wrong choice. But in the moment, it's so hard to tell. Maybe you can fake him, take the ball back to your corner after he misses. Who knows? Maybe he had a shot either way, but Valence did not get a good 50 there. And that will bring us to Champions Field here, Game 7. Like you said, can Distortion out the comeback here. They've been winning the kickoffs all series. Gets one here, but Paper going to find the second 50 out as Valence up extremely early. And Cart up early as well. Going to send it back to his own side. Sense there. Straight into the hands of Paper. As Valence off the backboard here. And I can't help but say this, Speed, but, if the Pineapples are going to find success here, they need a Valence peak. And right as I say that, he finds the shot, but saved away. They need Valence here in this game.
They do. Valence has to be. I mentioned earlier, he has to be the one to step up. And again, he has to be the one to step up. But Zap is going to be the one to step up for the Distortion team, and he's going to get this beautiful double tap dunk of a read and give them the early lead here. 34 seconds into this match, and coming off of that Game 6 win, already down on match point with your season so close to being on the end there. That's huge right now for this Distortion team, and Pineapples have to come back and fight and really get their momentum swung the other way.
Yeah, I need Valence to hit a solo mechanical play, or he needs to be a part of these passing plays to set his team up for success. He's finding great touches off the side, while on the offensive side, he's looking great once again, like he always does. Huge 50 from Cart, but Paper reluctant to push in. As Valence pushing in again. Just an extremely aggressive third-man push, and he gives the ball straight away into Distortion's hands, but still pressing the attack. Cart, Nicolou, off to the side, and I feel like it really comes down to Nicolou here on the defensive side here for Distortion here, Speed. They need him on defense, and I was going to suggest Zap as the net is open, and Paper will find contact. Not quite sure what happened here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. A little bit of double commit. Paper able to find the wide open net after getting that 50 win. And, it's going to tie this one back up with 3:30 left. But to go along with what you were just saying, I 100% agree with you. Nicolou has to be a huge factor in this Game 7 if Distortion wants to win. And he's going to start off there. His defense gets the 50 there in the middle of the field and sets up his teammate beautifully. And goes along with the other half of my statement I was just getting ready to say. Zap has got to be the one offensively for this Distortion team to keep doing what he's been doing. He's looked so good so far in this series. Beautiful plays, beautiful dunks, beautiful doubles. And those two are the key factors, I think, in this game number 7.
I absolutely agree. We need more offense out of Zap. As again, I sound like a broken record, but again, off that kickoff, that was Valence pushing in. It was kind of an awkward situation as it looked like his teammate Paper was trying to leave the ball for him, but by the time he challenged one more wild 50 off the sidewall, gave Distortion a goal right there. So these third-man pushes from Valence have just got to be more calculated. As he comes in there, gets a good challenge, but somehow all of Pineapples are not coordinated here. Starting to panic. More bumps coming out. Sense to the middle as Valence got zoned out of net as well. Nicolou high off the back wall. Valence up early. Zap almost finds the shot, but it's off the crossbar. Nicolou trying to keep the ball on the offensive side, but he's just going to give it away. Sense, great 50, but Cart quickly out. Valence, one more ballsy third man push, and every time he's using all his boost speed, I'm getting so nervous because I don't know if the 50 is going to go his way.
Yeah, that was risky. It did go in his favor this time, but it definitely looked like that Nicolou was probably going to win that 50, so it was good to see it come out as we see a 50 attempt come out there by Cart in the middle of the Distortion net, and Distortion's going to come away unscathed on that one as Valence trying to get mechanical and get the solo play, and he's unable to do so, and it's going to turn around into a Nicolou solo play, and he's going to give Distortion a 2-goal lead with 2 minutes left to go.
Oh my goodness, the highs and the lows for this Pineapples team. That was almost a devastating play that just came out. Paper faked it out. Valence, I think if he had 10 more boost, he would have found that double tap, as that was a deadly, deadly fake that came out as nobody on Distortion was ready, but both players had gone, and that left Paper in a very tough 1v3. Not the greatest flick from Nicolou, but ultimately it was enough, as now they're up 2. And they did score first here in this game, and if anything rings true, the team that scores first will win, as Distortion started to look extremely confident. Nicolou here on the attack, and he will put away for a 3-goal lead.
Nicolou and Zap, again, being the two that we talked about here, Bagels, to step up for this team. And Nicolou not only stepping up defensively, he's looked really good defensively, he's getting some goals. He's putting in the offensive pressure here. On top of the leaderboard, 2 goals, 1 assist, 2 saves, doing a little bit of everything. And that's the Nicolou we've heard about from this Distortion roster all season long.
Absolutely, but they're going to have to hold the defense for a minute and a half more. Pineapples, they need a passing play. They need a solo play. They need something right now, as they've got some space in the midfield, but nobody pushing here. Finally, Valence comes in, and they need that right now. They need to be aggressive. Paper, he's got boost. He's looking for the flip reset. The demo comes out, but Sense gets back just in time. Huge goal line stand coming out from them. Nicolou, the pass up to Sense, putting the shot on Cart. He ended up flipping off the side post. Things starting to become dire here for Pineapples as Distortion only mounting the pressure here. But Paper in the midfield has some boost, but no, he doesn't. He can't find the double tap as Cart charging in. Valence off to the side. Great 50. Paper, he's going to have to turn quick. Puts the shot on. Zap with a crazy pre-flip save. And the Distortion team can do no wrong here, Speed.
Yeah, Distortion firing on all cylinders when it mattered. Took that timeout after the Game 5 loss. Come back. Squeak out a win in Game number 6. And now have just all-out pressure here in Game number 7. And, 15 seconds left. They're up by 3. That's pretty much going to solidify Distortion taking this series and moving on to the semifinals. And Bagels, this is going to be our 4th 7th seed to win over the 2 seed in the quarterfinals this season.
And the clock has hit 0, down by 3. The Pineapples players have put their controllers down. Everybody except for Valence says this ball's just managing to stay up. Valence does hit the shot. Too bad we needed that a little bit earlier. But yeah, I mean, another 7th seed upset, and oh my goodness. I guess we predicted it though, Speed. We said Distortion was winning it. Granted, I didn't think by the means that they did, but they got the job done here on Champions Field, no less. And, they really stepped up when it mattered most, but still, I mean, going to the semifinals, I'm a little worried about this rotation and these double commits. Nicolou stepped up really big here the past few games, but still the defense is questionable here, but they got the job done against a surging Pineapples team whose offense, again, every season, they just have such crazy offense, but a little too short here.
Yeah, just a little too short here for the Pineapples. And, we did predict it, and it is sad to see the Pineapples, do go out in the quarterfinals here. But, that just proves to tell you that in all leagues that the 7 seeds coming out of that play-in tournament, how much, that these teams are close with those top teams, even though they may have been, a 7 or 8 seed, at the end of the season, but they're still right there and they want to win. And the momentum that you can get from those play-in games really does make a difference. So we've seen that all season. The only 2 seed to make it through Bagels was actually Frost from tonight because they received a forfeit win.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could have been a 7th seed sweep.
It could have been. We could have seen those crazy March Madness brackets that we see where, one season you get those 15 seeds that always win. And that was the 7 seeds this season. Unfortunate that the Gorgons weren't able to show up and play that match because, I was probably going to cast that one. I was going to have Gorgons going in that one. So I would have loved to see that. But quarterfinals is officially wrapped up here for season 7. Semifinals are be played Monday and Wednesday next week. And, we're looking like a great playoffs so far. They've been some pretty great matches, some pretty great games. Unfortunately, we have had way too many FFs. But, Distortion did just solidify a date with Blaze.
Yeah, and Blaze, one of those teams that forfeited their way through, so they're going to be, despite their name there, they're going to be a little bit cold heading into the semifinals. But, I was going to reference the bracket, but I'm going to give Crip a break. He's been lovely streaming for us all night here. We'll reference the brackets. We'll get all those matches. Perhaps maybe the Nemesis podcast will catch you up on the playoff week action there. Yes, Crip is begging me to stop this. But thank you guys for joining us here tonight on this lovely Saturday night for Rocket League. That was the round 1 matches all concluded. We will see you guys for some more exciting semifinals next week, and of course the all too grand finals there next Saturday, and we'll catch you guys on Monday.